So anybody who's just joined, in the chat, I've pasted a link to a Google form. If you could click on the Google
I
form.
didn't check out session notes. We'll show them to you at the end. Okay, Heather, we have a link, a bit.ly to them.
Okay, so if you could click on the form in the chat and then go in, answer it. Doesn't have to be correct. Just pick there's 2 multiple choice questions. Just pick any of the answers. And then after you pick the answers, then there's a long answer. Just write a few words. Don't worry, it doesn't have to be the correct answer. We're just using it to populate a spreadsheet. And I specifically picked this article. It's from CBC Kids News. I thought it was it's about a First Nation child who's becoming an entrepreneur. And so I thought it was a good article that, was interesting, that would be a good one to share with students. So I just picked that to show how you could like add some images in there.
Hey, sorry, Sally. I think they can't see the chat if they've joined late. So we have to re-click the link. I can do that, but I guess I could have done that the whole time. Sorry. I wasn't thinking that I could still see it for some reason. My bad.
Okay. So we're ready to get started then? I think that would probably be, I think that's probably good. I see that one more person.
We can start while you guys
right
are just finishing that up. That's okay. We're just going to do our normal beginning.
Yeah, totally. Okay. Okay. So today's session, oh, go ahead, Kate.
Am I even or odd?
I don't know. Go.
I'll be odd. I'll be odd. You do this one.
Okay. So today we're going to be talking about assessment and evaluation ideas in junior, and we have some guests here to help us with this. So I'm excited for them to be joining us. Fun ideas to share. Okay.
Yes, actually, I have a couple fun ideas to share because I've been in so many meets and I've been watching my kids. And so I just want to share a couple things because I know not every teacher has the opportunity, but someone I watched was playing Guess Who with their kids on their Zoom or their Google Meet. So everybody has their camera on and the teacher picks somebody. And then the kids ask a yes, no question. And then if it's kind of like you put them down, right? So do they wear glasses? And then if the answer is yes, then everyone not wearing glasses turns their video off. I thought that was super cute.
Oh my gosh, that's so fun.
Isn't that so fun? And then another one, and then, I mean, you can adapt that how you want. Another one that someone did was, what's that noise? So then the person's video is off and they make a noise with something. And then the kids have to guess what the noise was. I thought that was super cute, getting kids chatting about that. And then someone I know that I think they got this idea from Melissa Dent was in her remote learning drive, that shared drive that she has that anyone can be added to. She had it was just a picture and then there was hidden things in it that you can add, like anything, like you can add a mustache on someone or like a Coke can or something that are a little more out of place. And then the kids all at once have to shout out things that they see. So it's called, Are You Awake? And everyone just shouts it out like first thing in the morning and everyone's mic is off and they just have this quick little shout out to see all the things that they can find. So I thought those 3 things were kind of cute to share if you're looking for a little add-ins to get your kids a little more excited to come.
Okay, awesome. Thanks. Those are great.
Okay, so this is our land acknowledgement and we gathered this picture. I actually got this picture from Greg Plain off Twitter on the weekend. He obviously went skating with, he said in his thing about 30 other people, and I just loved it because I didn't know that on Amjanong they had this big chunk of ice, but Sally, you know about this, right?
Yeah, I actually remember being on the ice when I was little and being terrified that I was going to fall through it. But it's called, so I was pronouncing it wrong because I've heard it, but I was thinking it was Inkajink, but it's actually Inkajig. And so I was asking my dad last night about it. I'm like, so how do I pronounce that to make sure I was correct? But he didn't know what the actual meaning of the word is. So I was thinking I need to reach out and find out what the meaning of the word, but I'm assuming it means pond. I don't know.
Yeah.
However, my dad was able to tell me some information about it. He said that the pond is actually man-made and that when they were building an overpass, you know, on the 40, like if you're at LaSalle line, so this pond is at the corner of LaSalle line and 40. And if you go north on 40 past LaSalle line, there's an overpass.
Mhm.
And it's right before you get to Churchill. When they were building that overpass, they needed dirt. So they dug out here in this area, used the dirt to make the overpass, and then they end up with a pond. So
Yeah.
that's how that came to be. And that was,
Yeah.
I would assume probably the 70s or 80s. I was like,
Yeah.
how old were you when this was built?
Yeah.
Like a baby? And he's like, no, not at all.
He remembers it not being there.
Yeah.
And you know what? A lot of times over the overpass, there is like a little pond right next to any overpass, like on the 401 and stuff, because they've had to dig out from there. Yeah,
Yeah.
awesome. And it was great weather for skating. We went on the weekend too. So I thought it was very fitting. Okay, so I'll just read our land acknowledgement. We acknowledge that the land on which we are gathered is part of the traditional territory of the Chippewa, Odawa, Potawatomi, and Delaware nations. By personally making a land acknowledgement, you are taking part in the act of reconciliation, honoring the land and Indigenous heritages.
Okay, thanks. So we have Darren Ebert here, and we have Andrea Evans. I'm so happy that they can join us. They've been through the pains that you're all experiencing right now, and they do have some ideas on assessment. Actually, Kate and I sent out an email to the 4, 5, and 6 teachers this weekend asking for help to plan this session for you, because we know that it's challenging, there's time limitations, and there's only so much you can do in the day, and how are you going to get that information that you need on your students? And we know it's a challenge, and so we had quite a few people respond. Darren and Andrew are using similar things, so we asked if they could come and share with you today, and so they agreed, and so happy they're here.
Yeah, thank
Looking
you.
forward to hearing what they have to say.
Okay, so this is our outline. It's similar to last week. We thought we'd start with your questions, and hopefully we can have some answers for you in some form. And then we're going to talk about collecting data remotely to drive our instruction and assessment, as it's kind of a key thing right now, thinking about report cards and online tools. And speaking of that, we're going to talk about Google Forms and WHITEBOARD.fi, which both Andrea and Darren, I think, are familiar with. And then how do we give feedback? And we're hopefully going to get to this extension called Moat, and then some more questions and answers if you have any. And speaking of which, if you have anything that you're wondering about, or you're have a question about, just put it in the chat or come on mic. We're ready to answer your questions. And actually last week, this time, Sally, your internet went down, and actually a ton of questions came up, and I think people were helping me fill the time, but then also I think it was nice for them to feel like, oh, this is a great time to ask, and it's always a great time to ask. So
yeah, this is, we had a little more last week than we do this week. I think the topic, I wonder if it brings people, like last week it was breakout rooms, right? The topic.
Yeah.
So it's assessment evaluation this week. So
Yeah.
I don't know, but I like, this is the one to be at though, because I think this is going to help make life simpler for the teachers. So questions, sorry, I'm just thinking, like, there's 13 people here, they might not have as many questions. So just come on the mic if you have a question.
You can always just add it in the chat, and then we can just go, and the questions might arise as we share.
Yep. Okay, sounds good. So we have that question answer at the end too. So if anybody has questions. And let's give a shout out to Lori Myers for this image.
Yeah, we've all seen those memes all week long. So I thought it was kind of fitting that she actually added this. This is obviously her workstation for, she's a junior teacher at Arrowell. She's junior, right? Still? Yep. I thought she was junior, yeah. And she put this on her Twitter feed, and I thought, oh, that's so cute. Yeah. Hilarious.
Okay, so so far we've talked about like assessment, like gathering information through conversation, observation, products. Obviously, this is how we do it as teachers. So some of the things we noted was, like, on Google Meet, you can have that whole conversation, and you can like use the chat feature. You can raise hands, have thumbs up, signals on video. I seen a teacher this week, Megan Lung, in her class. We were doing a number talk, and she has, actually it was last week, and she has, the students will, like, if they're doing a number talk, and you know how everybody wants to share their answer, you get like the number, you take all the answers down, and then you pull somebody to talk about their answer. Well, to do that, she's having them type it in the chat, but then not press send until she counts to 3. So she counts to 3 and then send, and then the first person through, she's like, oh, this is a person. They love that. And it's
Great
kind of neat
idea.
too, because you can see, because nobody's giving the answer before, so then you don't know. Sometimes you think, oh, they're just copying the first one, right? But
Yeah.
actually everybody pressed send at the same time, and then you can see if they have different answers and kind of what their understanding might be. So
Yeah. Yeah.
that's one neat thing. Um, and then in whole class or small group with products. So we can have like a conversation, or the teacher's like recording student thinking, but then we can have like conversation in Google Meet where we're seeing product, and we can ask those questions like we have talked about in Jamboard.
Mhm.
And so the products would be Jamboard, WhiteBoard.fi, which we're going to talk about today as the WhiteBoard.fi. But we've talked about Jamboard and how we can observe students producing in real time. And that we can also have that Jamboard be collaborative with students. However, the WhiteBoard.fi it's an independent thing. Unless Andrea and Darren tell us different, my understanding is it's an independent thing.
You can use it as a collaborative piece too with the class. Normally I model it and I share my screen so that I can also see other students' whiteboards, so I can share their whiteboard and say, okay, look what so-and-so did. And then they can explain their answer too. So it's different than Jamboard, but it's also, you can also use it as a collaborative piece. It's just a little bit more limited that way. But as far as like not like anonymity, like where the students don't want to show their answer, you can just say, okay, here's this Jamboard, right? Or this whiteboard. It doesn't really show the student's name. So like, even if they're uncomfortable, you could say, hey, do you mind if I show it?
You can turn off the names as well.
Yeah.
So there's one of the features you can like see the names or remove them. So say you want to present, the whole class and to look at different strategies, I can just remove the names so they don't, like, they can see I present it in my in the whiteboard, and then they can see how everybody answered it, but they don't see who it was. So
Right.
I like that feature of
Yeah,
whiteboard.
I do too. And I also like that, like the biggest part that I like about it is I can save it as a PDF. So say we do like a key assessment question, you can save it. Like Andrea, I know you're shaking your head yes, but you like it's awesome because you can save it as a PDF. And I created a folder and it automatically goes into the same folder. So say I do a key assessment every Wednesday, I have that, and I have that tangible evidence, right? And I can go back and say, okay, so and so gets this, we can move forward. Or if it's like we did patterning this week, it's crazy trying to teach recursive rules to students. Go home every night and think to myself, how can I do this better? And go back, and it's been really good that way to see where students are at and be able to save that and then kind of compare it week to week, right? And say, okay, Johnny's giving me work this week, but then Sally's actually answered the question this week. So it just shows you the progress too. And it's good to have that evidence to be able to save it, right?
Yeah, especially I find that the kids are, I don't know, the group I have anyway, they're reluctant sometimes to share in the meeting. They don't want their cameras on for lots of reasons. And even sometimes they won't write in the chat. So they really like this whiteboard. I find I've had good results with it. They were frustrated with Jamboard, and because they really have trouble. They can't, especially for math, like they can't, use a mouse to write their answers. Whereas the WhiteBoard.fi allows them to some mathematical, like they can write fractions, for example, in there, you just using their keyboard. So it's a little bit, it has like nicer features than Jamboard. It's user friendly. So my grade 6 is really, they're liking whiteboard. I just started using it a couple weeks ago, and they really like it.
In the spring, it was really glitchy. And then even in the September, October, I remember talking to the virtual 5-6 teachers, and there were glitches with it. But now I feel like it's come along and it's not glitchy like it was. It's definitely improved for sure. I think we're going to hopefully show them some WhiteBoard.fi as we go along here. I I think you guys have really highlighted though the best things about it. So we can see the products, but then the thing is we can have the conversation while we're seeing the products live, which is pretty amazing, right? So you can give feedback in the moment. So we're going to talk a little bit more about that. And then the other things we've talked about are the breakout rooms. So we've talked about first starting off with a side conversation, like just one breakout room where you have the link in the chat, so then you can pull a kid over to have a conversation. But then last week we went into like full out breakout rooms where kids are going to go to their own room, and then you can pop in and out and hear students in each group and listen and then ask questions. And then they could also within that breakout room, they could have a Jamboard being shown or something, a collaborative slide deck or something that they're working on that also is creating a product while they're having those conversations. And then as we can just pop in, like we can even pop, I don't know if you do this, Andrea and Darren, but like when I've done it, I've opened up like 4 breakout rooms and I'm in every single one of them, but I have the tab muted and I have my mic and my camera off. You can just go in between and hear. And so then you can pick up a lot about the students' understanding and, you know, students you might want to target and support a little bit more by just listening in on the conversations.
Yeah, and you can, I mean, you're purposely grouping them and you might be working on different things with each group. So it's really good. And the kids, I don't know, the kids that have been in virtual the whole time, like just really need that social. They need that opportunity to talk to each other, and some of them are reluctant in a larger group. So it's been really good for that, getting more engagement.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And even I
definitely.
have found with breakout rooms, small groups, they turn their cameras on more, and then you can actually observe them, right? Because we do get a lot from their body cues about what they're
Yeah.
thinking. And I mean, we do miss that in face-to-face, but it is something I do notice in small groups.
Mm-hmm. Definitely harder for junior. Like we've been in so many classrooms the last couple weeks, Kate,
Yeah.
that I'm going in primary and almost every child has their camera on.
Yeah.
And then I go into juniors and there's like maybe
Mhm.
3 or 4 that have their camera on, and
Yeah.
it's painful. It's hard for
Yeah.
us as teachers
Yeah,
not to be able
it
to see the
is.
visual
Yeah.
cues.
Yeah.
Hard.
Okay. So we're going to talk about forms to start off with. And we pasted in the chat that Google form just so you could try it out. And then we could also show some features about it. Andrea and Darren, we're just going to talk about the things that we think that the form is great for. And then maybe you guys can talk about how the form has been for you, like using Google Forms in your class.
Okay.
So Kate, you want to speak to that?
Yeah, so we just thought we would note a few things that we thought forms are good with. If you've never used a form, it's just part of the Google Suite. So it's like creating a quiz or something that the kids have to fill out. And I was just thinking, like, why do I like them? They can be formative in nature, right? And so you can, it's kind of like a test. You can create it like a test if you want, or just as a diagnostic or something. And they do it individually. So there's always that part of the assessment. And when you create it, there's a variety of question types. So we'll show you in a minute. I wonder if anyone in the chat, are you familiar with forms? Because if you're not, then we can actually show you how one was created. Or if you feel like, yeah, I've used that, been there, done that, then that's totally fine. We'll kind of skip that part too. But we need to let you know, okay, use them every day. Yeah, right. So thanks, Christine. So you can do like multiple choice questions or open response questions, or you can have like a scale, like out of 1 to 10, or like all kinds of different questions, if whatever you're wondering about. I'm trying to think of a couple other ones that there's there. Obviously you can embed images and text, right? So that the kids have that to go on. And then you can view the responses in a spreadsheet format. So it almost sorts it for you. And you can, when it's in that spreadsheet, you can change the way that it looks. So you're looking at the kids that all responded a certain way, or you're looking at who responded, it's had this in their answer, however you want to do it. So it's really kind of a great way to sort of gather data.
Yeah, I think I have some questions myself, like that I would like to hear from Andrea and Darren. Like, so I actually want to go into the spreadsheet if that's okay, because I have some questions.
I think that's great. I think we should. There's always something new, right?
Yeah, so maybe we can start off with Darren and Andrea sharing, like, how are you using forms? And then we can go into look at them and the settings within them.
So we've used them here at the Blenheim site for a few different ways. We've used them for exit tickets. We've used them for logs for questions or readings that we've done. We've used them. I made a amazing race, holiday traditions, amazing race, like around the world type activity for the students before the holidays. So they're pretty versatile. The biggest thing that I found when I was messing around with this in April, because I really didn't know how to use it before this year, was changing the settings over to a quiz in order to get the response. So say you're giving them, like for the amazing race thing, for example, I was just giving to them as required questions, and then it would lock them in, and if they didn't answer the question, they couldn't move on to the next one. So
Oh.
once it's put in as a quiz, it gives you more, I guess, ability to allow students to make those mistakes, even though they might put in the right answer. They can go on to the next one. You just have to go into the results and say, okay, like they put a period in there instead of instead of an exclamation point, right? And then they still get the question right, but it will limit it if your response or your required answer is a certain thing, and they put in like a capital letter. If it's not the exact same, they'll have issues with that. So it's very kind of finicky that way. But if you change around the settings, and I think that's the most important thing, is just changing around the settings, because it's pretty easy to add like a picture, add a video, things like that, because it's pretty like along the tabs on the side, like when you guys show it, they'll see. But when you add a video or a image in, it's pretty easy to navigate. But it's that setting from quiz to I think it's just a normal form or whatever.
Yeah, I don't even think I know where that
Yeah.
is. I
It's
wonder
in the
if
corner. It looks like a little gear. You have to click on
Yeah.
it, and then it takes you to all the settings. And
Sally, are we going to go to a form in a minute?
Yeah, I'm just
another
trying
thing
to.
too is that you have to put this as the only thing in assignment if you want it to import the grades into Google Classroom. So that's another thing that I didn't figure out till after a while. And I use them like every morning when the kids come in, because that whole thing with kids coming in like a few minutes late, especially in virtual, there's no bell, right? So they're often 5 minutes late. So
Right.
they have that to work on. It sometimes is reviewing a math concept we just did, or reviewing. Sometimes I've got a video lesson in there on, say, like verbs, and then there's questions for them to answer. So use them like that. I also use them for multiple choice questions on reading and math. So use them pretty much every subject.
Yeah, nice. Andrea, I really like how you have it as something that they do in the morning. And I think Christine does that too. She says, because she does it every morning, just for something for them to do right first thing, right? Yeah, I like that.
And it's nice, because I don't know about you, Darren, but I was spending it was ridiculous amount of time on assessment, like 16-hour days. And I thought I have to find a way to like shorten this time up, but I'm going to be like burnt out. And the Grimes has really helped.
We use them quite often for phys ed logs. So we'll do like self-directed phys ed at the end of the day. So we'll do like a whole class activity, like we'll do one of Coach Joe's videos or something like that. But then at the end of the day, we'll do a log and say like, okay, you're required to go and do something physical for however amount of time. Log how much time you did, what you did, how you felt afterwards. I know Mike spoke about how he taught them how to check their pulse. And those are all questions that he added in. So it's been pretty valuable for phys ed because participation, right? Just that alone shows you which kids are jumping in and doing the activity, right? So they've been pretty important for that too. They're pretty versatile. Like we use them quite a bit for math stuff too. We use them quite a bit, but it's tough to see their work, right? When they do it, you don't know, you don't know where they're getting the answer from. They could be in a hangout saying, hey, you know what, it's question C, right? But
if they're smart,
right.
There's also a setting on there to limit to one response, because sometimes I'll get kids like they'll put like 5 or 6 responses or whatever. Yeah. So just be careful. Like it depends on what you're using it for, right? Maybe you want them to write it to answer the ones, but just there are lots of little settings in there to go in and check things like. Do you want them to get the marks back right away or feedback? Sometimes depending on what it is, you may want to manually go in and mark them all before they get that mark.
That's what that was the question I had, Andrea, was like, how can we set it so that they can get automatic feedback based on their response?
Yeah, it's in there. It's one of the settings inside. Maybe so go in. Yeah, go to that little gear there. Okay.
And
so this is sort of where the quizzes is.
Limit to 1 response is there. You have to go to quizzes and set it as quizzes too. So if you go up, make it a quiz, and then you get more options when you do that. So immediately, when do you want them to have the grade? Immediately after submission?
So
Or
does that,
later after you've reviewed it and then release it to them?
okay, so this will automatically tell them then that
Mhm.
the answer was A kind of thing?
It gives them like whatever marking system you've set up in there.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
it will also, if you've put in, when you design it, you can give them the correct answer. So say like it's a short answer question. I've written all the things in there that I'm looking for in the answer, so it will give them that. So it makes your
Oh.
feedback to them really fast, rather than me writing in every time what I was looking for.
Yeah,
It-
that's
it-
amazing.
I found that useful. I have to write it once, and then if they had it, great, they can see that it's confirmed. But they can see what was I missing in my answer, why I didn't get that mark.
Mhm.
Right. Yeah, that's a great point, Andrea. That's one thing that I was going to say too, is that when you build the quiz, you can write in, like Andrea said, the correct answer that you want underneath, or you can put in hints too, like if it's a
Oh, yeah.
you know, yeah,
What?
or if you're grade 3, 4, or grade 2, 3, and you're using this, you know, you could put things underneath for parents to read, right? It's your, like if a parent's helping their child out, right? You could put in underneath like, hey, I don't know, whatever you want to put in, but
How do I do that? So,
So,
okay,
An-
so here's
You
our
can touch-
question.
Yeah, okay.
So what would you do to all that stuff you
Okay,
just
you have-
explained is amazing. So how would I do that?
So you go to the answer key. So
Uh-huh.
click where it says answer key. And then you can type your feedback. So we see the little, looks like a little clipboard there, answer feedback. So click that.
Okay.
And then you can type in what you'd like for incorrect answers, we'll give this feedback. Correct answers, you can give them.
Like you could say
Feedback.
something like that.
Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
And you can
And
attach a
then
video or,
they will get that when they get their response back, if they have it incorrect.
so then correct answers.
Yeah, we'll get this feedback.
Nice job. Like that.
Sometimes they put the same thing in both, right? Because that's what I'm looking.
Okay.
Just
You
because
can
it's
just
usually
repeat-
on.
Can you just repeat
on
where you
questions
got that?
are like a written response.
Sorry.
And I always say I'm going to manually check it before, because they will get a wrong answer and they freak out because, hey, I think I got the right answer, but it's not written exactly. So I usually,
Okay.
if it's a written answer, I'll say like, I will check it and then send it back to you for the results.
So that's the manual check. That's the, so you have the option of the two. You check,
Right.
you choose the
But if
bottom,
it's-
like manually return.
Yeah, if it's your multiple choice, standard multiple choice, then you don't need to do that because it's gonna mark
Yeah.
it.
Sorry, Sally, can you tell me where you got that click for the feedback part? Oh, it's always right. Sorry.
Yeah,
So
you have to
go there
click on answer.
and then answer key and then answer feedback.
Okay.
Now, how do I put the correct answer?
so just
in here.
so click on it, click on the correct
Okay.
answer, and then you can change the points to 1 point if you want it to be 2 points, whatever you want it to be, and then hit done.
Okay, nice. Sorry, my dogs are barking.
Pretty easy, right? Then you
So
have
it's
to-
almost like, it's a little bit like Kahoot when you make
For
a
quizzes,
Kahoot.
yeah.
Yeah, so, and then you click which one is correct. Okay, yeah. Mhm.
Okay,
I've never used this as a quiz, as the quiz feature, so that's new to me.
Yeah, the quiz feature, at least with the quiz feature, if you make it a required question, like sometimes it will limit your ability to move to the next question. So if it's a quiz and they go in and they put in say they submitted the wrong answer, at least they can go to the next question.
Yeah,
So,
so
and
would you
yeah. Mhm.
turn the required off for that? Or you
can-
can't do
in a-
that?
In a quiz, you can keep it on. It'll just say they can't submit it until they put an answer in,
Oh, okay,
right?
but it can be a wrong answer.
Yeah,
Okay,
Okay,
I can see how that would be helpful if you were doing, say, a scavenger hunt or
Right.
a locked,
mhm.
what do we call those
Locked in
things
room
again?
or a breakout
Yeah,
room.
mhm.
Yeah.
escape room?
Mhm. The
There you
escape-
go.
Yeah,
There
something
you
like that, yeah. Breakout room, I don't know. Yeah.
Okay, was there any other features you wanted us to notice before we go over to the responses?
Let me just check the chat. Okay. No, I think that was good. So you obviously have all the same options for questions and quizzes as well. Okay. Yep. No, I'm good if the participants are good.
We've also used these for parent responses too. just to send home, just to see how things are going at home, like check-ins.
Mhm.
I know early on we use these to send home just a couple questions saying like, how are things going? You know what I mean? Or is there any questions you might have, and left it open-ended. And it was really
Mhm.
helpful when we
Mhm.
first got things going online in
Mhm.
September. And just to let parents know like, hey, you know, we're here to answer any questions you might have, right? So
Mm-hmm.
that was pretty helpful. And the link, the hyperlink can just go on the bottom of your email, right?
Yeah, that's
Oh
really
yeah,
great.
that's right.
So when you hit that send there at the top. Okay, yeah, so you can just copy a link from there, the
Yeah.
chain
Yeah,
link
right
there?
Yeah.
there.
Yeah, okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, so then we go into the responses, and I like how it kind of like it gives you. You could even go over this with your students, right? It kind of like it gives you a graph about it.
Yeah, this is neat. So is this in quiz mode?
This is how it comes in either way. I think it would give
Okay.
you the data, like layout of the data.
Yeah, and then you can look at individuals, like if you click to the right there.
The green.
Right.
Is that what you're
No.
saying?
No, right where it says,
Oh,
yeah, there. So now you can scroll through and see how your individual students responded. Like we'll put it in a spreadsheet as well, but
Yeah, I think I saw my name
in
here
there.
at the
Like
top.
say I'm manually reviewing an answer, this is where I go to do it,
Right.
to get them. Yeah.
so how do we know whose this is?
It should be at the top. Maybe you didn't ask for
Oh,
name.
it's one of 7.
Yeah, so
2 of 7.
when the
Okay.
kids do it, you will always
Put a name at the
ask
top,
them, the
right?
first question is name.
Yeah.
Good call.
Okay,
Good call. You
that's
want that.
Or
good.
you
Good
can
to
get you
know.
can get emails too. You can
Yeah.
put it in so you can see it by email too,
Okay.
where it'll email. You can get them to email a receipt, or it'll say show email once they filled it out. So
Okay. And then we can go to this, right? The spreadsheet. So I'm going to just go
Yeah.
out. I like this because
Me
then
too.
if you do have the student name in there, you'll be able to see. So let's see what comes up. Okay. So gives you the time when they submitted, which is nice. B, 1 out of 1. So everybody got that one right. This is is this just, I'm a little confused here. Oh, these are their answers. So it doesn't show A, B, or C here.
no.
No,
It shows,
because this was a short answer about what's the title.
well,
Give
that's
it a
E,
title.
that's section E. But C and D questions, so C would be like the multiple choice, and D, so D, the answer was A, and you can see everybody chose A here. But
Okay,
normally
yes,
it would
yes.
show, maybe it wouldn't. I
So
feel like I've seen it where it's,
yeah, I think you just
I
need to
don't think
change around the
A was
headings.
the choice. I think A was actually the start of that sentence.
on question D, the question is wanting a business to grow. In this sentence, what does the entrepreneur mean?
Yeah.
So
And
if you click on that's the question, and then that's the answer, a person who
Yes.
creates, and so
Yeah.
then everybody gave that. But then
Yeah.
here, C, this one was what prompted her. And so then you can see that we have a few different answers. I guess seeing it in the other format for how many, I feel like I've seen it before where it's shown me like 3 got it right and 1 got it wrong. Maybe because we haven't chosen the correct answer. Do you know what I'm talking about, Andrea, Darren?
Yeah.
I think it.
Yeah, oh, go ahead.
No, you can go. Go ahead.
I
I'll go next.
usually see how the child responded with what A, B, C, D. Or
Yeah.
1, 2, 3.
Maybe I set it up wrong.
It could be just the way you wrote the questions. I don't know. I'd have to look back at it.
Yeah. What do you think,
Yeah,
Darren?
switch it to a quiz for a second to see if that works. It could be too because you had them manually input it. Did they have to manually input an answer, or was it just clicked on?
No.
It was click on the.
Was it click on?
Oh, you don't have it A, B, C, D. That's why I see.
Right. So it's giving you this because of the if you have A, the
role model, yeah. So
the role models B.
You don't have them numbered. That's why. So if you have 1 role models in her life, 2 parallel, so then
Right.
those look
Oh.
Yeah. So if you change it over to a quiz right now, so if you go up to your settings and click quizzes. Oh,
Mhm.
you already made it a quiz. Okay.
But that was
So
after the fact, though.
I think
After
Right.
it's
everybody
just the
answered.
question type that you
it
chose for
might be
that
just the
question.
question. Yeah.
Yeah, if you just click on your question type and edit it, you can go to not multiple choice.
Let's go to the quiz template then. And so here it is. This is before it's sent
Yeah.
to people.
Just
So
click
this
the
is,
plus button, I would, or
So
edit.
so it says multiple choice.
Yeah, you have to click, click that again, that arrow down.
Can I offer some input?
Yes.
Sure.
So if you click that little waffle right above your question there, like the 6 little dots. So if you go back to your pull down here, if you click on that, it will let you, so maybe,
It's not letting me.
yeah, because I think you went back, if you go back to your original quiz, so your news tab,
Okay.
now try it there.
It won't let me.
It won't let you, because usually when you're making the quiz, I just find like if I made an oops or I want to change things, or
I
one thing I
use it
don't
to
like.
move.
One thing I don't like is with your multiple choice, like sometimes you always have to click, I want a multiple choice, or I want a short answer, or whatever. So if I accidentally click the wrong one, or don't click it, if I click on that waffle, it will allow me to edit. And then at
Oh, I
that
see.
point, I can click my answer. So I think what had happened with you, you didn't click in what you wanted the correct answer to be. And that's
Yeah,
why
on
you
this quiz,
see-
I don't have it chosen as
Yeah.
like what the correct
So,
answer is.
Yeah, so usually at this point, like if you click that little waffle, it will allow you to change things. But I think you're.
I think it's just right now. So I can click on the waffle. It's the same as like clicking on that, right? Like I can click anywhere and it brings it in. If I click on the waffle, I can use it to move too, right? So I wonder if, because I don't have this, I didn't have it originally set up as a quiz, then maybe not being able to set it up that way. I didn't set it up that way, so then I'm not seeing answers that way. The good thing is, though, we can see it in the response when we do the summary, and we can see who's answered what, which is useful.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay, so I'm thinking we probably have enough on forms because we had,
Yeah.
it's 4:08 already.
Yes, I know. We should get to WHITEBOARD.fi. It's a goodie.
Yes, it is. Okay. So let's go back to the slide deck. And so we were just noting like some of the things about WhiteBoard.fi is that it's live. So forms, you're not going to see the students answering it live. However, WhiteBoard.fi, you're seeing them. And this is kind of what it looks like when their kids are working on it. You see all their whiteboards at once and you can see the strokes of their pen. And so it's like as if you're in a classroom to me, like it's like you're walking around the class and you're seeing, except for it's kind of better because you can see everybody's sheet at once versus you're going one by one as you go through. Students who are confused, you can quickly identify that because either they're scribbling on their page, there's nothing on their page. So then you can say, hey, Colleen, I noticed you did this. What do you know, or does anybody have any questions? Or if you see something, you can clarify if you see something and say, oh, don't forget about this, guys. And so it kind of, you can do that scaffolding, steering, and suggesting all while you're observing your students. It's kind of neat. From my perspective, I haven't been using it every day in the class. So
Another
Andrea,
cool feature is too, you can push what's on your screen to each student. So say you have a student that might have fallen behind or they had trouble getting back in. There's an option to push your pages to them. So whatever you have, it'll push that to that student. So say you have a student that might be falling behind a little bit or they're confused and they're trying to get caught up with what you have on your whiteboard. You can push it to their screen. That way they have what you have. So they're caught up and they can just go from there.
Darren, how do you push to one particular student? Because I've only been able to push to the whole class.
So if you go to the individual person, so we'll wait until she gets, so Sally gets it set up, and then
that was something I was.
Sally, when you created this, you just, first people who haven't done it before, you just went to create new class.
Yeah. So You were taught, so there's right, if you join for the first time and you like register, you get like a 7-day free trial period,
Mhm.
right? And then it gives you all the features of the whiteboard and you'll fall in love with it. And then after the 7 days, they take them away. So I'm in that time period now where I've used my 7 days up. So now I'm just going to go to new class, and it's a temporary board that lasts for, I think, 2 hours. Is that right, Kate?
Yes.
Yeah, right there. It says 2 hours of inactivity. So I just made my name. I don't know. Do you use these, Andrea and Darren? Enable
No,
wait?
not anymore.
Oh.
The waiting lobby,
It's annoying.
Is it?
it's a bit of a gong show, right? Because kids are trying to get the code in
Mhm.
and stuff like that. So it's just easier if they can just get in right away, because you can
Yeah.
actually take the link and put it in your chat, and they can just click the chat or click the link in the chat and then go right to it. And then it might ask them to put their name in, which normally you ask them to, but some of them put, silly names like I would have when I was 11 years old. And then they're able to get into the meet, but it's really cool once you're in. So I'll join it and I'll show you what I mean, Sally, when you get in. I'll put your code in.
Okay, I'm not sure why it wasn't working here, Mrs. P. Create new class. Okay, so I'm gonna copy this and then I'm just gonna go over to our chat to do that.
Okay.
So just 1 second. It's just so many things on the page that makes it hard to.
If you do have a subscription or whatever, like your 7-day trial, the room code at the top, that's your room code. So you could just use that and the kids would come into that same room all the time.
So if you're like want to try it out and join the WHITEBOARD.fi, you're welcome to. So it says your students can now access this. So I don't have anybody joined yet. Are you joining, Darren?
Yeah, it won't let me get in because I have my own up from earlier, but I'm trying to get in.
Oh,
1 second.
I'm joining
here.
right now.
Oh, here we go. I can get in now.
I can join.
What's the code? K55.
BD, K55BD.
Okay. All right. So if you toggle your whiteboard and just write something on your whiteboard. Okay, so now if you go down to say, find somebody's name on the board.
Okay.
You can click on mine. So then go down to actions. So say I couldn't figure out it, I got in late, you can put push teacher whiteboard to student. So the middle option.
Okay, good.
Right there. So click on that and then it'll come up. So it just showed up on my screen, Pepsi or Coke. Or if you want to push it to your entire class, say you had like a T-shirt for whatever reason, if you go to push in the top right corner, you can put push to all students current page. So normally current page works, but you can have multiple pages or just all pages. If you push current page, everybody should have got it. So
if you use this, it does delete everything that I had on there before.
Right.
So
right.
which is kind of nice, because if the kid is way off and you want to just clean slate it, that's really great. But then yeah, you do have to be careful of that if a kid is,
Right. That's why it works really well. It works really well by just going to that individual student. Because if you have a student that's halfway through the question, like, oh, I'm going to push it to everybody. I've done it a couple times. Me and Mr. Eber doing that. But yeah, it's all trial and error too, right? Like this today was day, I don't know, 85, right? And we've used this program for, since the first week of school. So we're a little bit more comfortable with it, but it's been really, really helpful. And then if you want to save the work, you just go back to, or you go up to the top to the little gear.
Darren, I just want to know, like, so with the paid subscription, you can use all these features here, right?
Yes,
I can't. I just
so.
tried to give a thumbs down to whoever wrote Coke.
And actually, Heather was in the chat earlier saying she wondered how much it was. And so I don't know if either of you have it, but I think I checked and it was $6.99 per month if you were just doing per month. And it's $4.99 if you actually sign up for the whole year. So $4.99 per month if you sign up for a year.
Okay, Darren, where were you telling me to go?
Subscription too, sorry. If you have the subscription too, like you can invite other teachers in too. So say you're collaborating with another teacher, you could do both, which is cool. Hold on, I need to move you out of the way here. There we go. The gear at the top.
Okay.
So click on that and then save to PDF, save all whiteboards as a
Oh,
PDF.
yeah.
So if you do that, you can name it. You don't need to name it. You can just put save as PDF and it'll create its own code. And then it'll save it. It'll save everybody's board, which is awesome. And then it'll come up as a PDF and just,
You can see
It'll
the name, yeah.
and you could see student participation, like say they didn't have anything on their page, like, okay, well, what was going on here, buddy? Like, I have you not doing your work here, or you did a
Mhm.
fantastic job, right? You give that direct feedback that way.
Yeah. I'm disappointed that everybody likes Coke.
I do have the subscription. I bought it because I like to prepare my lessons ahead of time, and I like to have, right, because I'm putting stuff on that I want to get sent to them, and I
Mhm.
know I'm in this, right, probably till the rest of the year, so it was worth it for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were talking about buying the license ourselves out here too, and just kind of trying to split the costs, but we weren't sure if we were able to split the costs or not on it. But it's a really cool piece of technology, and it seems like they update it often. It's night and day from what it was in September. So
Yeah, I agree.
Mhm.
Um,
Yeah. Oh, another
So-
thing too, if they want to, sorry, Sally, I didn't mean to
Go
cut
ahead.
you off. If they want to put a picture on there, so say there's like a snippet that they've taken from another website, or like a picture they've taken that they want students to work off of, you need to use the keyboard function. So Control C and then Control V to paste it. So say you want to take that, yeah,
oh,
because I've done it where I've had stuff on my Google Docs and I've had to I tried to like copy and paste with my mouse and it wouldn't work. So that's one hack that we had to figure out too. You had to use Control C and Control V to paste it.
sorry, it's my computer's decided to sign me out. Just one
That's okay.
second.
Yeah, I think that's happened because I've tried to add pictures to this.
Oh.
In fact, I have, but I've actually copied them to my computer and then
Right.
uploaded them where that little picture icon is at the top. So that's kind of saves your step. So thanks for that.
No problem.
So Control C and Control V will work.
Yeah. I
Okay.
just want to ask, have either of you had an issue with kids like using the eraser tool and then erasing everything, but they only wanted to erase a little thing?
Yeah, I think if you
Yeah.
set it as a background, it happens all the time. And then I
Yeah.
have to like repost or repush it to
You
a
can
student.
get, there's a thing called flatten, and it saves any backgrounds.
Right
Right.
here.
So
Yeah,
there
and-
it won't erase them. And then
Yeah.
there is an undo. I've used it lots of times.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that's true.
Yeah, it's awesome. Like if you're teaching music, like there's music bars, like there's
Mhm, mhm.
yeah, that you
The
can put on the
background, yeah.
background. It's pretty fantastic.
Yeah. And like, this is nice because if Sally's using it right here for assessment, like you can see everybody. And if you're sharing your screen, they can see each other's, but you don't have to be sharing your screen. And then I'm only looking at my own work, right?
Right.
But
Mhm.
then if you think I need some support, you could like do something on your whiteboard and push it to me.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Almost like a teacher taking a pen and
Yeah.
starting something on a child's whiteboard.
Those they're
Right.
working on us being able to write on there, so like that's some features
Yeah.
they're trying to.
Yeah, right,
work on,
right,
which would
right.
be great.
yeah.
I like that. I was using this when I had the trial premium subscription that write the comment right in. So then if it's a child that's gonna be like anxious about you calling their name out, you can just do, hey, Darren, look at your page. I've added some feedback for you.
Yeah, that's a
So
great
it's
feature.
kind of a more
Plus,
private
too, I
thing.
wonder if that's a really good way. I feel like now we're pushing people to get it. You don't need to, but to make notes to make notes on there, and then when you download it as a PDF, it's like a note to yourself about observations you made or whatever, right? So that you can use
yeah.
those for later,
Unofficial. Yeah.
like after the kids are done the work. Because when you come back in here, it's still there.
Right.
Yeah.
You know what I
Maybe you
mean?
could suggest the school board buy this.
Yeah, because they listen to me.
They might.
The worst they could say is no, right?
Right, it's worth
Okay. So anything else we should add about this WHITEBOARD.fi before we leave this screen? I really like that. To me, this is amazing because you can have that work to look back on.
I was excited that you can actually do flips, rotations on here, which most of
Oh,
applications, I haven't taught that yet, but I'm excited that it does that.
where is the feature for that? Do you know?
So if you create, if you go into the math, like the little square root symbol there, so and type something, and then it gives you like the ability to rotate it when you put it in. So type in like, I don't know, like like a fraction or something. I just discovered accidentally. And then I was like, oh, this is cool. Yeah, so put that in. And then when you drag it in, okay, that little green thing, you can flip it around, right? That's cool. And
Nice.
yeah, so you can actually, if you drag it right over it, it does a flip too. Yeah, so I was like, okay, this will be cool.
Yeah, that
Yeah,
is a great.
neat things to use. All right, well, thank you. Okay, so we are at this moat. And I really don't, I know I've heard you all talk about it, but I haven't used it. So I want to hear how you use it.
Okay, so I have a class that I have 15 IEPs students in my class, and I have many students that read at an early primary level and they're grade 6. So they can't read very well on assignment. So I use it in slides and I will give a verbal instruction, record myself. It's free for up to 2 minutes. So, and you can put as many notes as you want on a page. And so I use it for that, and it's fantastic. So if I'm doing, say, a reading in social studies or something, I will record myself reading each paragraph, and I just inserts it into the slide.
That's
Or
amazing.
the document or whatever you have. And so the kids can just listen, like click on it, listen. You can give verbal instructions to kids that way. I use it right in Google Classroom to mark things, to give them verbal feedback. So something that would probably take me 2 hours to mark is down to like half or less, just because I can give, like, I can just click on, quickly say what I want to the student, move on to the next one. And I can listen to the notes, they can listen to them. Like it's saved me so much work, and it's really helped with students that have difficulty with reading.
Yeah.
That's how I use it. But I was
Andrea, do you
excited.
have your students, do they have this extension so they could send a feedback back, like send a memo back to you, or no?
Some of them do, but they would have to install that.
Sure,
But
yeah.
yeah, some of them do have it, and some of them, but it's just been really good because they have difficulty reading. When I write down I write down feedback to them, like some of them don't bother because reading is challenging. So they, for
Sure.
them to read a paragraph that I've written them, it's not really helpful for them. So they can listen to what I'm saying. So it's been fantastic for that. And also just for kids that can read well, it just speeds up my ability to give them feedback.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's great.
So you can put that in Google Classroom. So it's an add-on to your toolbar, right? And so you just download the extension, and then you click on the icon, and then how do you get it into your?
Yeah, a box pops up anywhere, you'll see it, and it'll you just click it, and then it will you click it to start time to record and stop, and it inserts it in for you.
Yeah, it's
exactly where you want it.
Yep.
Yeah.
You
Easy.
can move it around too on the screen.
Nice.
So you can put it right with where you want to read it. Yeah, that's really great.
Integrates so well with Google Classroom. I'm not sure, but I'm sure there must be ways to put it in other platforms too. But
that sounds like a great extension for not just teachers, but EAs, resource teachers, like anyone who's working with students, especially students who have reading lags, right? Like behind in the reading.
It's really helped for that. And I actually discovered it because a parent sent me a note. And I was like, what is this mode? And then I checked it out, and I was like, I could definitely use this. So that's how I just.
We're in this together.
Yeah, that was really good. In fact, I would say if there's one thing that has helped me, it's been mode, like the best thing I've done.
Nice.
So if you only try one thing, give that a try.
So do the students need to have Moat to hear the notes?
Nope.
So they can just click it and it will play. All right. Darren, you want to add anything about Moat? Anything you're doing differently, or is it you kind of doing the same thing with Moat?
I'm doing the same thing. It's pretty awesome. Like it was a game. It was suggested by another colleague early on in the year, and I didn't really realize how awesome it was going to be until I actually tried it, and I was like, this is like, imagine like we have I have 32 kids in my class, so marking something out, I'm typing it out. I timed myself actually early on in the year. It was like 4 minutes per student, right? You're trying to give feedback, and I'm like, you have 30 kids, like that's a lot of time, right, for one assignment. But just even them being able to hear your voice and have that personal connection, right? I think it means a lot more coming from your voice rather than just words, because they read stuff on a screen all day, right? For them to just click on it and say, hey, you know, that's Mr. Ebert's voice. I think it means a lot more to them that way too. So, and I know, Andrea, you can attest to this too, right? I think it's a lot more meaningful coming from a recording, and you know, kids miss that, I think, in school, right?
Yeah.
It's also good for your asynchronous, you know, the kids that aren't participating in this in meetings, and they're going in Google and they're trying to figure out what to do. You can leave a little note in there so that you're giving the explanation. So, or if a child is away and they're coming back and need to do the work, and like, I find it helpful.
Nice.
Right.
Sounds amazing. I'm gonna test that out after this session.
Yeah, I like that it's free, and really, you know, you'll need more than 2 minutes. They're not going to listen anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, totally true.
Yeah.
Okay. So do we have any questions for Andrea and Darren, or us?
There was a question, Kelly asked a question earlier, but I think that Rod answered it about headphones and sound. Do you guys find, like, do you wear your headphones all day? It is much better, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Huge difference. And it's great if the kids have headphones, like if they have ones they can wear.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I tried to use the iPhone headphones for a while, and it just picked up everything, especially being out at the school. It was terrible. And I could hear everybody else was starting to loop through. And then when we received these, this was, you know, the best gift that we received all year, right? It was these headphones.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, the blue light glasses too. I just saw that. I have mine. Clear frames, right? Being trendy. They do work too. So if you guys don't have those, Amazon.
Right. I'm gonna write that down.
This one is also good. It's like a writing pad. So if you're having trouble, so I can write like I can on paper. So in like whiteboard, I don't need to use the mouse, and it's really good. It's like a drawing board.
It's a mouse, but it's like.
Wait, tell me more about
use
this.
it as a mouse. It's like a Wacom drawing board, but they come in like smaller versions as well. But it's great because you can just like print and write normally on the computer. Because I was having trouble, like, you know, writing legibly with the mouse or doing. So I found that really helpful too.
So when you're using Jamboard, sorry to interrupt, when you're using Jamboard, for example, you're writing on that and it's showing up on the screen nicely instead of me using my mouse?
Yeah, it's perfect.
Oh, okay. What's it called?
It's a Wacom, so WACOM Intuos drawing board.
Can you hold it up one more time? Can I have a look at that?
Hold it up.
And was that Amazon?
I got it at Staples, but you can get them on any place that sells electronics.
So is that Bluetooth to your computer?
USB, but it's been very good for me, especially because I was having trouble, you know, doing all the math with the mouse because I'm not very good with the mouse. But it's been it's made things go a lot faster and neater for me. But it's, I think for the small one, I don't know, maybe like $70 maybe if you find it. This one is a little bit bigger because I use it for art as well. But it's been pretty good, and it just works like a mouse. So I can use it as a mouse as well.
Okay, we'll put that in the notes. Maybe.
Yeah, to look at. Yeah. They're very. I find it handy.
Sally, now that Kelly's on, she was also wondering if we could just show that mute all extension. I can't remember what it's called again.
Oh yeah. The mute tab extension.
Yeah, the mute tab extension.
This is like
but
really
maybe before we do that, so that people can leave if they want to leave, because I see we're sort of out of time. Can you show? You're not showing anymore.
No, I can take it back over. Oh, don't look at my mess. Oh my gosh. Okay.
I just thought we might show the bit.ly for a minute. Or
okay, so bit.ly.
You know what I mean?
Yep. So there's the bit.ly if anybody wants it, and then we'll come back to some questions, I guess, because it is 4:30. So we'll come back if anybody wants to stay on. They have questions. We'll come back. So that bit.ly will take us to the session notes, and then we'll add in the things that were discussed, like the Moat, WHITEBOARD.fi link, and then also the Wacom drawing board. And also suggest blue light glasses.
Suggestions from remote.
Yeah. And then there is a session on Thursday, and the focus is going on it's with Pam Gallant, who is doing report card. She is going to have a comment writing using tools and Markbook focus session for Aspen on Thursday this week. And you can find that on the blog, the link to it. And then we will be back again next week at 3:30. And I just want to say, well, before everybody leaves, thank you so much, Andrea and Darren. That was
problem.
amazing sharing. That's so useful.
Yeah.
So many good
Lots
ideas.
of great tips.
Trial and
Yes.
error.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Trial
Well,
and
thank
error.
you for going through that for us, because that's so helpful.
You've done all the hard learning for
Yeah,
everybody, and now you're
yeah.
sharing it with us so that it's easier for everybody else.
Yeah,
Lots of-
if anybody needs anything, just reach out. Like if anybody has any questions, you can use my email if you want. It's all good.
Yeah. me
Okay,
too.
that's awesome. Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you. Okay, so let's go to that mute tab extension. So as you can see, it's called mute tab. It's like MUTE, and then it's an extension. You can see it right there. And then you just click it. And so now I've got this tab muted. I won't be, if it was a Google Meet tab, I wouldn't be able to hear anybody. So if I had 3 or 4 different Google Meets open, then I could just mute them. So then I'm not hearing what's happening in all the other ones. And then
But they can still hear you unless you mute yourself.
Yeah, you have to turn your mic off and then turn your camera off. I turn those
Yeah.
off so then they know like I'm not
Yeah.
there right at the moment. And
So you
tell
know
them
how
like
when
I
we
can't
use
hear
our
them, but I
mute-
can see them.
Yeah. When we use our mute, like when we're in a Google Meet and when you mute yourself, it's like muting your noise to the computer. This mute tab mutes the sound from the computer to you.
Yeah.
Okay, and you clicked on the mute tab little, like I just put that onto my my laptop today, and
Yeah.
so we're gonna play with it too. But I thought you could tell me about it first before I play with it. So what tab I'm on, so I get on the tab first, and then I press that mute tab, and then I
Yep.
go to whatever I'm doing. Okay, and how do I get them to be unmuted again?
Just
click
click
on
it
the tab?
again. Yeah,
Okay.
just click it on, click it off. It's really easy.
A little black thing shows up when it's on.
Yeah, the black
Okay,
cam.
Yeah.
See, right now it's not muted, but now it is.
got it. Awesome.
Yeah, so easy.
Thank you, everybody.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Okay, thank you. All right. Well, thanks.
Yeah,
Thanks again,
Darren and
Andrea.
That was great. Thanks so much.
Take care, guys. Have a good
Yeah.
night.
Okay.
Okay.
See you later.
again.
Bye.
Bye.